it was 142. If I talk the bottom India achieved, it was only 42. So now we are at 48.9. This is an indicator which tells you where our valuations are, how cheap the valuations are. I'm sure this seems to be very, very attractive. The other fact, the 12-month forward price earning ratio of Nifty, the PE earning, the forward PE earning of 12 months, it stands at 15%. It is at a discount of 12% to the long-term average price earning, 12 months price earning, 12 months forward price earning of Nifty. So if we look at the long-term average, current price earning ratio is at a discount of 12%. Again, it shows that the market is very attractive. If I look at 12-month forward price to book ratio, 12-month forward price to book ratio is 2x. That is, price is 2x of the book value, 12 months forward book value. Whereas the long-term average is 2.6. That means, again, the valuations, the markets are very undervalued. The Nifty, the valuation of the stocks are really very undervalued. Market is very attractive. If we look at 2000.com bubble, if we look at 2004 crash, if we look at the subprime crisis of 2008, in these 3 years, anybody who bought after the price fall of 30%, he made substantial gain in next 1 year. And now the price, the fall in the market is more than 30%. In fact, at one point of time, it was even 35%. So right now, the fall has been more than 30%. And as per the history, if you go by the history, the valuations are so attractive. And as per the history, you would make good return over a period of 1 year. But I am not talking of 1 year. My sense is we have to think of a long term. And from a long term perspective, if we look our country, if we look India, I was just reading a very recent report of IMF World Economic Outlook. This is a report by IMF, this World Economic Outlook. If I look at their projections for 2020, you know, India's growth at 1.2%, which is very, very low, but still we are the, at 1.9%, we are the highest. Even there are only 3 countries or 3 regions which are showing positive growth. One is India, 1.9%, other is China, 1.2%, and then low income developing economies, 0.4%. The advanced economies are showing the degrowth of minus 6.1%. So if you look at even this report, this shows that India is still growing, though at a low rate of 1.9%. But these are all projections. My sense is we will not achieve 1.9%. We will achieve much, much higher growth rate. Of course, these are all projections. Even what I am telling you is also a projection. But there are a number of green shoots which are visible. One green shoot is the crude prices. You know, India is a net importing country. If you look at the crude prices, India stands to gain substantially. So I don't know, but I've always observed that our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, is a very lucky Prime Minister. I mean, the day he took charge in 2014, the prices of crude started coming down. Even in these adversity, when India is facing this grim pandemic of COVID-19, again, we are a net importing country and falling crude prices benefits us. Similarly, when there is a lower crude price, our current account deficit will be much lower, and we will not import inflation. And when we do not import inflation, there is a very strong possibility, though RBI has already cut 75 basis points in repo rate, but my sense is over a period of time, in this year, we'll see another 100 basis points cut in repo rate, which would again benefit our businesses as well as economy. Even in this, like in 2008, we saw there was huge global liquidity because of easy monetary policy followed by the various governments, various central banks. This time also, we are seeing that easy monetary policy will be followed, which will give boost to the equity prices. And valuation of Indian companies, the comforting factor is, as I said, when earning was peaking in US, in India, the earning was bottoming out. So as I said, from here onwards, we can only see the upside. However, current prices have already discounted some fall in the earning. So my sense is the prices which are today, which are trading today for various stocks, they are reflecting, they are discounting, they are factoring this fall in earning. And as we know, Indian bounce back very strongly in a very short period. So my sense is India will bounce back, Indian markets will do well, and the only thing is not a short term, we should have a long-term opinion, we should have a long-term horizon, and we should avoid leverage. If you are leveraged, it's a huge risk. Avoid leverage, invest with a long-term horizon, and you should be able to have patience because there would be daily news flows. Markets can go down further. You may use buy on dip strategy. There is a lot of room. Again, it can touch 7,500. But if you adopt a policy of a long-term investing, buy on dip policy, buy fundamentally strong stocks with good management, with good fundamentals, I'm sure investing in stock market at these moments is going to be a win-win proposition. With this, I will again say, I am not an expert. We have two experts. You go by the opinion of these two experts who are real authority on the stock market, who are real authority on their various asset classes. So over to you, Sapravaji, to introduce Nileshji, and then let us hear him out. Thank you.
Nilesh Shahji incidentally doesn't require any introduction, but still I will like to tell that he is a chartered accountant of 1992 batch, having 27 years of experience with various funds, and presently he is the managing director of the Kotak Asset Management Fund. Prior to that, he has worked with Axis Fund, he has worked with Franklin Fund, and he almost everyday basis he is there on a television channel. And for the mutual fund industry, not from today, for last 15 years, he is an authority. So I will request him to please guide us that what should be the strategy at such stage. An investor, what should he do? Whether what is the right time to buy the shares or the commodity, the which sector or the which share, or even otherwise, he can even talk about the country's economy also. So, Mr. Nilesh Shah.
Thank you. I have a hard stop at 6:30 as I had provided for 5 to 6:30 for this conference. So I'll be very brief. Clearly, this is the most unprecedented crisis of our lifetime. And unless until we find a medical solution, we can't say that markets or economy is I request people to remain on muted if they want to hear me. It's extremely impolite when you invite someone and don't mute others. This basic courtesy is required.
Paranjit, kindly mute.
Thank you.
Please go ahead, Nilesh.
This is the most unprecedented crisis. No problem, sir. This is the most unprecedented crisis. And unless until we find a medical solution, there's no way we can say that market and economy is bottomed out. Medical solution will be in two formats. One, combination of drugs, which can help cure patients affected by coronavirus. Second, vaccine, which will help prevent occurrence of coronavirus. Vaccine is probably 12 months away, between 6 to 18 months away, but average I am taking 12 months. Combination of drug, there is anti-malaria drugs, antiviral drugs, anti-parasitic drugs, which are being used in different combination to arrive at that standard protocol, which will allow people to cure coronavirus patients. There is no bottom of the economy or the market. In the economy, we think there is going to be serious amount of pain, much more than what market is expecting today. Companies which have taken leverage, they will be wiped out in the current downturn unless until they get massive support from government and RBI. Equity holders of such companies will go through virtual wipeout unless until there is massive support from the RBI and the government. Companies in sectors like aviation, tourism, travel, hotel, multiplexes, retailing, small and medium enterprises are worst affected. And if there is leverage in this company, there will be double whammy for them. Companies in food processing, in pharma, healthcare, online distribution, disinfection, these companies can survive the downturn with relatively ease, especially if they have limited leverage. This virus is going to impact behaviors significantly. And if you are invested in those companies which are less leveraged and which are benefiting from this behavior changes, they could have huge opportunity. What behavior changes we can expect? One, there are many people who were living on credit cards. Their expenditure was higher than income. Savings was negative for them. Going forward, most people have appreciated need to save for rainy season courtesy this 40 days. Savings pool will increase in India in the days to come. Industries, businesses which can participate in this increased savings pool, like banks, insurance companies, mutual funds, will benefit. Second, entertainment will move from outdoor to indoor, from multiplexes to OTT platforms like Amazon and Netflix. Companies which are creating content for OTT platforms, companies which are engaged in distributing OTT platforms, they will benefit more in the days to come as people prefer to stay indoors and they get addicted to Amazon and Netflix. This 21 days, 40 days have all taught us importance of health. We will all be taking vitamins and boosting our immunity in the days to come. We'll all become conscious about our healthcare. Our spending in healthcare will increase as a percentage of our expenditure. And the same will be the case with the government as they spend and divert money into healthcare infrastructure. Companies which are engaged into wellness, immunity boosting, pharmaceutical, medical equipments, medical insurance, healthcare infrastructure, they should all benefit from this increased spending. Third, if today your family asks that there is a lot of heat and we need a new AC, most likely all of us will say that jo existing AC se usi se kaam chala lo. But if they demand an ice cream, we'll probably agree to it. Low ticket consumer staple items will maintain their growth rate or will see very moderate negative growth. But high ticket consumer durables, people are likely to defer their demand even if they have money in pocket. The non-discretionary consumption will continue to get support, but discretionary consumption can continue to differ over a period of time. In this conference also, you can see people, how many have shaved, how many have not shaved. Clearly, it shows impact of discretionary versus non-discretionary consumption. In automobile, we are seeing exactly opposite situation. In China, post Wuhan lockup opening, people are afraid of taking cab sharing and they are moving to their personal vehicle. It's possible that we also may shift from Ola and Uber to personal vehicle, maybe two-wheelers, maybe low-end entry-level cars, but people will prefer personal vehicle over public transport. Migrant laborers have moved away from places like Punjab, Gujarat to hinterland like UP and Bihar. In absence of migrant labor in this Rabi season, to remove weeds, farmer does not have labor, hence they'll have to use herbicide. Companies which are in herbicide, pesticide manufacturing will benefit as migrant labor moves away from places like Punjab, Maharashtra, Gujarat. We are all right now working from home, and clearly companies which are facilitating working from home will benefit. We have seen what happened to Zoom company share price as Zoom conferencing has become order of the day. There are many companies which are engaged in converting physical process to digital. They will do well. There are many companies which are storing data in cloud and allowing access to cloud data through computation. So companies which are engaged in cloud computing, cloud servicing, cloud storage should do well. In this world where people are moving to digital space faster than anticipated, there is increased hacking and phishing. Companies which provide protection against phishing and hacking and not just virus protection will do well. So within technology space, any company engaging from physical to digital transition will benefit, whether it's on cloud side, protection side, application side. We also see good opportunity for chemicals and specialty chemical sector. China had 43% market share in global chemical market. It declined to 39% over last 2 years. India had 2.5–3% market share in global chemical markets. It has gone up to 4%. We think Indian chemical industry today is at the same inflection stage which IT industry was in 2000 at Y2K level. IT industry started supplying code writing solution for Y2K. Eventually, they built relationship with client by doing a great work, and then started getting first hundreds of millions of dollar contract and eventually billions of dollars of contract. Indian chemical companies are also today getting into global chemical market by supplying smaller doses, niche chemicals, but are now getting larger orders over a period of time. One Indian company got $440 million contract away from China, and we think this is just the beginning. More and more orders will come for Indian chemical and specialty chemical companies over a period of time. There are contract manufacturing firms, few in listed, few in unlisted, which make consumer durables like TV, fridge, AC, and which make electrical appliances for global brands. They put their brand on goods manufactured by this contract manufacturing firms and sell it in India. Now this company wants to source from this contract manufacturing firms in India for global market. Their scale will expand 15, 20, 30 times if they become part of global supply chain management. This is also an opportunity for contract manufacturing firms, just like IT industry had opportunity at Y2K stage. Essentially, behaviors will change because of this lockdown, and companies which can adjust their business model to suit this behavior changes should do well in the days to come, provided they can survive the downturn with very, very limited leverage. If they have leverage, the asset value will be left for only lenders and equity value will be written off. So your first filter for investments will be moderately leveraged company, less leveraged company, no leverage company. But within that, you'll have to choose those businesses which are at the forefront of behavioral changes and who can benefit as the society reorients itself in post-corona. Contributes 18% of profit to Unilever PLC, but they account for 60% of market cap for Unilever PLC. By contributing 18% profit, if you are going to account for 60% of market cap, it doesn't require too much brain science to figure out that this is exorbitantly expensive valuation. Since there is no supply in Hindustan Unilever, these prices are sustainable. You don't lose your job by making investment in Hindustan Unilever. That mentality will allow this prices, this valuation to continue for some time. But what if one day Unilever decides to come and sell shares in India and use that money to do buyback in Unilever PLC? In that scenario, when supply emerges, the shares can come down dramatically. So while you are investing for lesser leverage companies, safer businesses, behavioral changing businesses, do keep an eye on valuation, because today you have a choice of picking up stocks at historically lifetime low valuation or historically lifetime high valuation. Today, our market is a time travel machine. You can go back 4 years to buy large cap stocks, as Nifty is trading at 4 years before price valuation. You can go 6 years back to buy mid caps, and you can go back 9 years to buy small caps. From Jan 18 high, Nifty is down about 18%, or if we round it off 20% down, mid cap is down 40% and small cap is down 60%. There has been massive correction in prices of many good companies, and many of them are available at below cash on their balance sheet. Undoubtedly, this is opportunity to buy in equity, but please remember to pick up right stocks because there is extreme volatility ahead. One reason why our markets bounce back from 7,600 Nifty is because FTSE and MSCI, two global benchmark indices company, have increased India's weightage by 17% after persistent effort by government. This has the potential to bring anywhere between $2 billion to $10 billion in Indian equity markets, $2 billion from passive funds like index funds and ETFs, and about $8 billion from active funds as people become overweight India. This flows will support the prices and will not allow markets to go below what its fair value will be. But the fair value of the market will be determined when we get medical solution. If I have to draw a chart on economy in one single form, this is what it will look like. On the y-axis, we have monetary and fiscal stimulus from low to high. On x-axis, we have medical solution from early to late. In the most unfortunate scenario where medical solution emerges very, very late and our fiscal and monetary stimulus is low, recovery will be L-shaped, crashing speedily in a vertical fall and not moving up at all. In the most fortunate scenario, if our monetary and fiscal stimulus is high and discovery of medical solution happens faster, our recovery will be V-shaped. First quarter, April, May coming down sharply, but post that June, July, August recovering very sharply. Vertical fall will be followed by vertical rise. Somewhere between the time taken to find medical solution for coronavirus and medical and monetary and fiscal stimulus will determine what will be shape of our recovery. Most fortunate scenario is V-shaped recovery. Most unfortunate scenario is L-shaped recovery. Let's hope and pray that somewhere between them we find our solution. Most important thing now is that, okay, this is all about economy and market, but how should we make money out of it? My recommendation will be, don't assume market has bottomed out. There is extreme volatility ahead. This is undoubtedly time to be overweight equity, but on a calibrated basis, gradual basis. You divide your incremental investments in equity in two parts. One part which is to be invested when market is in risk mode, fear mode, uncertain mode. Do it over multiple tranches, multiple installments, say minimum 10 installments. That way you will be investing at every level of market which is falling. The second part, you try to invest when you believe there is confirmation or hope that now medical solution has emerged and there will be no need of restricting economic activities, and economic activities will resume with full force. That way you are putting one part of your money in a fear mode, risk mode of the market. The other part will come in the hope mode. Combination of that will allow you to average yourself in a falling market, in a volatile market, and then staying invested hopefully will give you good return if you have picked up your stocks correctly, if you have picked up your behaviors correctly. This is how we see the scenario. Happy to take questions for next 15-20 minutes.
Mr. Nilesh Shah has to leave at 6:30. But Nilesh ji, we may not be taking the questions. You can continue it because the number of people who are joined with us are 400 plus at the moment.
Questions, people have raised hands. You can allow them to take questions because that would be more interactive.
Chaliye, Prashant Jain ji also has joined with us already. He could not log in from his own ID. So he has logged in from his PS ID and he is already with us. By the time Nilesh ji started, Prashant ji has joined us, DKG. So he is also with us. But as Nilesh ji has to leave at 6:30, I am not able to see that who have raised the hand. But
Sunil Goyal,
you
ask the question. You have to unmute. Paramjit, unmute Sunil Goyal ji. Unmute Sunil Goyal.
निलेश जी नमस्कार, सुनील दत्त गोयल जयपुर से बोल रहा हूँ।
नमस्ते।
और मैं जयपुर स्टॉक एक्सचेंज फॉर्मर वाइस प्रेसिडेंट में रहा हूँ। पिछले 5 साल में जितने भी म्यूचुअल फंड्स में एनएवी वो 30-40% तक जो गई थी, वो इन 30-40% माइनस में आ रही है। और हर बार ये होता है जब भी मार्केट क्रैश होकर दोबारा रिकवरी लेता है, तो सपोज 1 से लेकर 100 तक के शेयर पहले चले हुए थे, वो तो रह जाता है और नए 101 से 200 शेयर वाले चलते हैं। तो इन्वेस्टर के पास वो जो 100 शेयर पड़े हुए हैं, तो डीपी में माल आ जाता है, ऑपरेटर में मालों को छेड़ता ही नहीं है बिल्कुल भी, और वो नए 100 शेयर ढूंढ लेता है वो। तो ऐसी स्थिति में जो रियल इन्वेस्टर पुराना मार्केट फंस गया है, तो उसको क्या निकलने का चांस मिलेगा?
सुनील जी, मार्केट में अच्छे स्टॉक भले प्राइस ऊपर नीचे हो, इवेंचुअली इन्वेस्टर के लिए पैसा बना देते हैं। और बुरे स्टॉक ले लो तो भाव भले ऊपर गया हो, बट इवेंचुअली तो इन्वेस्टर को लॉस करके ही जाता है। आपने कौन सी कंपनी में निवेश किया है, उसका मैनेजमेंट किस तरह का है और कौन से वैल्यूएशन पे निवेश किया है, वो डिटरमाइन करेंगे कि आपकी एग्जिस्टिंग होल्डिंग में से कितने शेयर अपने प्रीवियस हाई को क्रॉस कर पाएंगे। अगर 1991 में देखे तो मज़दा का शेयर अपने ऑल टाइम हाई को जिंदगी भर क्रॉस नहीं कर पाया और एसीसी ने समय लिया बट क्रॉस कर दिया। 2000 में ग्लोबल टेली, सिल्वर लाइन, डीएसक्यू अपनी जिंदगी भर ऊपर नहीं आ पाए, बट इन्फोसिस, विप्रो, इवन सत्यम अपने ऑल टाइम हाई को क्रॉस कर दिया। 2008 में भी हमने कुछ ऐसा ही माहौल देखा। एलएनटी था तो वो अपने ऑल टाइम हाई को क्रॉस कर लिया, आज वापस नीचे गिरा है बट 2000 के भाव को क्रॉस कर दिया था। जबकि आईवीआरसीएल कंस्ट्रक्शन था तो वो कभी उठ ही नहीं पाया। तो जो इंडिया 91 में हुआ, 2000 में हुआ, 2008 में हुआ, वही 2020 में होगा। अच्छी कंपनी के दाम वापस उठेंगे, अपने ऑल टाइम हाई को क्रॉस कर देंगे। बुरी कंपनी है वो अपने ऑल टाइम हाई को नहीं क्रॉस कर पाएगी।
मेरा पीएसयू कंसर्न है, सबसे पीएसयू गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडियन कंसर्न है, लाइक एनबीसीसी हुआ, पीएनबी हुआ या एनएसजी, ये वीडीएल, इस तरह की जो कंपनी है मैं इनसे कंसर्न ज्यादा हूँ। पीएसयू कंसर्न ज्यादा है मेरा।
सर कंपनी स्पेसिफिक तो मैं बात नहीं कर पाऊंगा।
नहीं, और
एक बात
करने अपन अच्छे पीएसयू थे जो अच्छा चल रहे थे और आज वो 2 फिगर में आ गए हैं।
सो अगेन अगर आप पीएसयू को देखें तो जो अच्छे पीएसयू है, जो अच्छी तरह चल रहे हैं, उसमें शेयर होल्डर को पैसा बनेगा। और वह पीएसयू जिसमें ढंग से नहीं मैनेज हो रहे हैं तो ऑब्वियसली उसमें इन्वेस्टर्स का पैसा नहीं बनेगा। कई पीएसयूज है जो बड़ी बखूबी अपना काम अदा करते हैं और शेयर होल्डर्स को भी मैनेज करते हैं, एम्प्लॉइज को भी मैनेज करते हैं, सरकार को भी मैनेज करते हैं और सोशल ऑब्जेक्टिव भी मैनेज करते हैं। बट कई पीएसयू है, जैसे एयर इंडिया हुआ, लिस्टेड नहीं है इसलिए उसकी बात करता हूं, उसमें नंबर ऑफ एम्प्लॉइज पर प्लेन आर मोर देन नंबर ऑफ पैसेंजर्स पर प्लेन। अब ये दुनिया की एकमात्र एयरलाइन है जहां पे ये निशान उन्होंने कायम किए हैं, तो ये तो कभी प्रॉफिट कर ही नहीं पाएगा। आप इंडिगो की एयरलाइन सर्विस देखिए, एयर इंडिया की देखिए, आपको पता चल जाता है कौन कितने पानी में है। तो वो पीएसयूज जो एक अच्छी कंपनी है, अच्छी तरह काम करती है, वो अपने शेयर होल्डर्स को देर सवेर पैसा बना देगी। बट वह पीएसयू जो ढंग से नहीं चलती, जहां पे एम्प्लॉइज के इंटरेस्ट, सरकार के इंटरेस्ट, सोशल ऑब्लिगेशन शेयर होल्डर के इंटरेस्ट से आगे चले जाते हैं, वहां पे पैसा बनाना मुश्किल है।
सर जो बैंक
about 9 more questions have come. I will
अनिश खुराना के क्वेश्चन है, फार्मा सेक्टर के बारे में आपकी क्या ओपिनियन है, क्या इसमें तेजी बरकरार रहेगी?
सो फार्मा सेक्टर जब आप कहते हैं तो उसमें बहुत सारे अलग अलग प्रकार की कंपनियां आती है। एक है प्योर फार्मा मैन्युफैक्चरर, दूसरा है कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मैन्युफैक्चरर जो बल्क ड्रग्स बनाता है, सप्लाई कर देता है और फिर दूसरी कंपनी को उसका प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च का रिस्क लेना पड़ता है। ये डीवीस टाइप की कंपनी उसमें आती है। दूसरा है जो खुद बल्क ड्रग्स बनाता है, खुद प्रोडक्ट के लिए फाइल करता है और फिर लॉन्च करता है। जब उनकी फैक्ट्रीज यूएस एफडीए बंद कर देती है तो उनको तकलीफ होती है, जब उनको अप्रूवल मिल जाती है तो अच्छा पैसा बनाते हैं। अब ये दोनों कंपनी के रिस्क प्रोफाइल और प्रॉफिट पोटेंशियल अलग अलग है।
मेरे सामने
तीसरी फार्मा,
मेरे सामने 9 क्वेश्चंस आए थे, 3 में उनमें नाम बिना लिए। The one is about the mutual fund suggestion, the other is how about the balance fund and whether to invest in ELSS and what should be the mode if we want to invest in ELSS. That is mutual fund suggestion about the balance fund and the ELSS. Nilesh ji.
So ELSS में आप SIP के थ्रू निवेश कर सकते हैं। आने वाले 12 महीने वॉलेटाइल रहेंगे ऐसा हमें लगता है। The best way is to invest through SIP from here till March 2021. that will give you tax benefits as well as ability to invest into this market. Balanced fund again is one more convenient product which invests in debt as well as equity. There is also another variant of balanced fund called balanced advantage fund, where equity allocation goes up and down depending upon the valuation of the market. So for conservative investors, they can invest into balanced advantage fund. For aggressive investors, they can invest into balanced fund. People who are already invested into balanced fund, this is probably time to move to large cap fund, as it is good valuation to move from 70% equity fund to 100% equity fund. That way, whenever market bounces back, you will make money on an entire portfolio rather than just 70% of the portfolio.
Nilesh ji, one or three questions are just relating to that China's bank actually having the stake in the HDFC Bank, or whether the China is buying into more Indian equities. And one question is that whether the 7,600 it is bottomed out or not. These are the two main questions.
सर आप भगवान को भी पूछ लेंगे 7,600 निफ्टी बॉटम बनी कि नहीं, तो वो भी शायद बता नहीं पाएगा, मेरी तो नहीं बता पाएगा.
That's what I used to normally reply, but there were questions, so I thought that I should put it. And any comments on China's buying Chinese banks buying Indian equities?
So we are open to investments by all foreigners, चाहे American है, चाहे Chinese है, but we must ensure that they pay more than the fair value to enter Indian market. They should not buy at this cheap valuation. जब सस्ता है तो इंडियन खरीदे, महंगा है तो बुरे खरीदे. That should be our attitude.
नीलेश जी, एक क्वेश्चन आ रहा है कि PSU बैंक और प्राइवेट बैंक, इनके ऊपर आपका क्या ओपिनियन है, कंसीडरिंग दैट अभी डेलिक्वेंसीज काफी आएगी?
See, undoubtedly NPS तो बढ़ने वाले हैं, उसमें तो कोई डाउट नहीं है. और इसमें PSU और प्राइवेट में डिवाइड करने की जगह पे अच्छे और बुरे में डिवाइड करना चाहिए. कुछ बैंक्स है जिन्होंने अपना पोर्टफोलियो काफी डाइवर्सिफाइड करके रखा है. कुछ हाउसिंग लोन है, कुछ ऑटो लोन है, कुछ SME फंडिंग है, कुछ AAA रेटेड फंडिंग है, कुछ अलग अलग सेक्टर की कंपनीज में है, कुछ मल्टीनेशनल को लेंड किया है. तो ये तरह का डाइवर्सिफाइड पोर्टफोलियो उस बैंक्स को प्रॉब्लम्स कम आएगी. बट अगर कोई बैंक एक ही क्षेत्र में एक्सपोजर है, जैसे माइक्रो फाइनेंस में है, तो माइक्रो फाइनेंस कंपनीज की तो बैंड बची है, आप पैसा ही कलेक्ट नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. बॉटम ऑफ द पिरामिड में नियत बहुत अच्छी होती है, बट जब जेब में पैसा नहीं है खाने को, तो चुकाने को कहाँ से लाएगा? अगर आपने कमर्शियल व्हीकल फाइनेंसिंग की है, तो आज 90% ट्रक तो रास्ते पे खड़ी है. अब आप उस ट्रक ड्राइवर को बोले, ट्रक ओनर को बोले कि भैया मेरी लोन के हफ्ते चुकाओ, बोलेगा सर ट्रक ही लेके जाओ. एंड जनरली कमर्शियल व्हीकल में ट्रक लोन वैल्यू कुड बी हायर देन द रीसेल वैल्यू इन टुडेस टाइम. ऑन द अदर हैंड, अगर आप हाउसिंग लोन देके बैठे हैं, तो जनरली हाउस की रीसेल वैल्यू आपकी लोन वैल्यू से ऊपर रहेगी. लोग ये नहीं कहेगा कि ठीक है आप घर ही उठा के लेके जाओ, बिकॉज उसे मालूम है लोन सस्ती है, लोन कम है, हाउस वैल्यू ज्यादा है. तो डाइवर्सिफाइड क्रेडिट एक्सपोजर जिस बैंक का होगा उसको फायदा होगा, जो कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड है उसकी तकलीफ बढ़ेगी. दूसरी चीज ये समय में है डिपॉजिट की. अगर आपके पास इस वक्त पैसा आ रहा है, तो आप उसे अच्छे भाव पे अच्छी कंपनीज में निवेश कर पाएंगे और आपका मार्जिन बढ़ेगा. बट इस वक्त अगर आपको डिपॉजिट चुकानी पड़ रही है, तो अपनी सारी अच्छी असेट्स बेच के डिपॉजिट चुका दोगे, बाकी जो असेट्स रही वो एनीवे थोड़ी वीकर होती जाएगी, और उसके डर के हमारे और लोग डिपॉजिट लेके निकल जाएंगे. तो जो बिग है वो बैंक्स बेटर होगी, जो वीक है, परसीव्ड वीक है, वो बेचारी और खराब हो जाएगी. तो इंस्टेड ऑफ लुकिंग एट PSU एंड प्राइवेट बैंक, यू शुड लुक एट दोस बैंक्स whose asset quality is diversified, not concentrated, whose liability profile is getting stronger by the day. Those banks will do well, others may not do well.
Sir, last question, as you have to leave by 6:30. Your views on the agricultural sector and the fertilizer sector. These were the
और साथ
four people have asked.
जी जो फार्मा के ऊपर आप बोल रहे थे, उस पे भी कंटिन्यू कर लीजिएगा फार्मा के ऊपर.
Sure. So as I was saying, in pharma sector, there are different models in various companies. Some are only bulk drug supplier to companies who will successfully launch product. There are some integrated companies which make bulk drugs products, takes approval and launches. There are some pharma companies which are domestically focused. There are some pharma companies which is focused on high margin, low volume businesses. Now, to put all of them in pharma sector will not be fair. Each company will have different risk profile. Second, in today's world, where I mentioned that people will be more conscious of healthcare, by and large, pharma companies should benefit. And more importantly, in pharma sector, in few companies, we have seen promoters buying large stake. If you do Google search on Indian pharma entrepreneur buying shares in their company, you will get the list of these companies. Generally, हमने देखा है कि promoter जब शेयर खरीद रहा है तो उसके साथ रहने में नुकसान नहीं होता. पैसा शायद बने नहीं बने, but नुकसान तो पक्का नहीं होता, because अपने शेयर्स की, अपनी कंपनीज की क्या वैल्यू है वो प्रमोटर से ज्यादा कोई नहीं जानता. इन एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर अपने पास लिस्टेड कंपनी बहुत कम है. ज्यादातर एग्रीकल्चर अनलिस्टेड स्पेस में होता है. तो अपने लिए जब हम एग्रीकल्चर की बात करते हैं तो कुछ सीड कंपनी है, कुछ फर्टिलाइजर कंपनी है, कुछ ट्रैक्टर कंपनी है, कुछ रूरल फाइनेंसिंग कंपनीज है. यही घुमा फिरा के अपना एग्रीकल्चर रिलेटेड एक्सपोजर बन जाता है. मेरे हिसाब से फर्टिलाइजर प्लांट्स जो कंटिन्यूअस प्रोसेसिंग प्लांट है, उन सबको परमिशन मिल गई है चालू रखने की और उनको डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन भी दिया जा रहा है. तो मेरे हिसाब से फर्टिलाइजर कंपनी बाय एंड लार्ज शुड डू वेल. एक चीज जो फर्टिलाइजर कंपनी में देखनी चाहिए कि सब्सिडी पेमेंट कब होता है. अब सरकार इस मूड में है कि जितना ज्यादा डिस्बर्समेंट हो सके पैसों का कर देते हैं, और अगर ये फर्टिलाइजर कंपनीज को उनकी सब्सिडी पे आउट हो जाती है तो वो फर्टिलाइजर कंपनीज के लिए अच्छा रहेगा.
Chairman of the Commodity Participant Association, Mr. Naveen Mathur has a question. Naveen Mathur ji, please unmute Mr. Naveen Mathur. He will ask a question. Chairman of the Commodity Participant Association of India, Mr. Naveen Mathur.
नीरज जी, तब तक एक क्वेश्चन है, ये would IT stocks continue to be under pressure?
Can you repeat? I couldn't hear you properly.
Would IT stocks be under pressure? IT
मतलब
stocks.
अगर ये आपने विप्रो का रिजल्ट देख के पूछा है तो ऑब्वियसली कंपनी टू कंपनी रहेगा. बट दोज आईटी कंपनीज व्हिच आर ट्रांसफॉर्मिंग फ्रॉम एप्लीकेशन मेंटेनेंस, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर मैनेजमेंट टू डिजिटल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन, दे विल डू वेल. आज की दुनिया में वर्क फ्रॉम होम करने में लोगों को इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर मैनेजमेंट तो करना ही पड़ेगा. सेकेंड, मोस्ट आईटी कंपनीज में डेट नहीं है, सब नॉन लिवरेज्ड है. तीसरा, आईटी कंपनीज में आपको ज्यादातर पढ़ा लिखा वर्कफोर्स है, तो आप उनको आसानी से समझा पाएंगे कि भैया तेरी सैलरी में कटौती करनी पड़ रही है बिकॉज अपना बिजनेस थोड़ा मंदी में है. तो they will have slight flexibility on cost structure compared to, let's say, a company which is having workers. In IT sector, valuations are also not prohibitively expensive like FMCG companies. So effectively, IT sector will have its own ups and downs, but if you have chosen right IT company which is moving into digital transformation space, which has moved into cloud computing, which has provided protection against hacking and phishing, which can launch product in this point of time, which will come handy for transforming physical processes to digital, they will do well. ये company to company specific issue रहेगा rather than sector specific.
In any case, rupee depreciation का भी benefit होगा?
नहीं सर, rupee depreciation में जो buyer है अपना वो भी उतना ही smart है, वो भी देख के आता है तुम्हारे रुपये का क्या value है, उसी हिसाब से contract adjust कर लेता है. तो Infosys का margin जब रुपये 35 रुपए टू $1 था तब भी वही था, और आज 76 रुपए टू $1 पे भी वही है, वो डबल नहीं हुआ.
Naveen Mathur, Chairman of the Commodity Participant Association of India. Please unmute Mr. Naveen Mathur.
And Sagralji, this is going to be the last question.
Yeah, this is the last question, sir.
इतना एक सवाल मैं पूछ सर, जो नई बैंकों को
नहीं सुनील गोयल जी नहीं, अभी मिस्टर नवीन माथुर.
नहीं, जो 1 अप्रैल को मर्जर इम्पैक्ट हुआ नई बैंकों में, उसमें आपके ओपिनियन क्या है?
सुनील जी सुनाई नहीं दिया.
जो 4 बैंकों में नई अस्तित्व में आई है 1 अप्रैल से, मर्जर ऑफ सेवरल बैंक्स, पीएसयू, आपकी ओपिनियन क्या रहेगी आफ्टर मर्जर ऑफ द मेगा?
सर जनरली जो मैंने कहा कि मर्जर करने से आपको बेनिफिट तब मिलता है जब आप कॉस्ट कम कर सको। आप पीएसयू बैंक में कभी आप एक एम्प्लॉय को तो फायर कर नहीं पाओगे, तो दैट्स पॉइंट नंबर 1, आपकी कॉस्ट कैसे कम होगी। एंड मोर इम्पोर्टेंटली 4 जीरो को ऐड करो तो 0 ही होता है, और 4 10 को ऐड करो तो 40 होता है। तो आपने 0 ऐड किए या 10 ऐड किए वो तो तभी पता चलेगा जब आपको पता चले उनकी एसेट क्वालिटी क्या और लायबिलिटी प्रोफाइल क्या है। पीएसयू बैंक्स में लायबिलिटी का जनरली टेंशन नहीं आता बिकॉज सरकार माई बाप है। पंजाब नेशनल बैंक ने बड़ा लॉस डिक्लेयर किया बट कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ा, लायबिलिटी से बिल्कुल सरकार पीछे खड़ी है। तो पीएसयू बैंक में एसेट क्वालिटी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। अगर एसेट क्वालिटी ठीक है, कॉस्ट कम कर पाएंगे तो ये मर्जर उनके लिए वैल्यू एक्रेटिव रहेगा।
Thanks a lot, Nilesh ji. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And now we welcome our another star speaker, Mr. Jain, Mr. Prashant Jain, as he is a graduate from IIT Kanpur and then a postgraduate from the Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. He has one of his own agri-product company, and today he is the executive director of HDFC Asset Management Company and is known as an authority in this market. Mr. Prashant Jain. परमजीत जी, प्रशांत जैन जी को अनम्यूट कीजिए।
हेलो।
यस प्रशांत जैन जी, प्लीज कंटिन्यू।
आप सुन पा रहे हैं?
हाँ जी।
हाँ बिल्कुल प्रशांत जी, आवाज आ रही है आपकी।
Good evening all of you and friends, thank you for this opportunity. I think we are running slightly late and I had also planned to leave by 6:30, but let me say briefly about my views on these. I think I've heard both the speakers and both were excellent, and all I would say is that COVID will certainly impact India's economy. It will impact consumption significantly because it will impact wages, especially at the low to mid income levels, quite significantly.
प्रशांत जी, अगर आपका वीडियो ऑन हो सकता है तो वीडियो ऑन कर लीजिएगा।
वीडियो ऑन है साहब मेरा तो।
अच्छा नहीं, आ नहीं रहा था, एक बार कोई बात नहीं।
हाँ,
प्लीज कंटिन्यू।
our IT team can make the video on Mr. Prashant Jain.
India is a 2/3 service economy, और कोविड के होने से क्या हुआ है कि the people will travel less, eat out less, shop less, and almost 40% of the employment in India is provided by the service sectors. And when consumption goes down, the wages of these people will get severely impacted. The bottom 50% people in India account for only 15% of India's GDP. So I think the cycle of the economy that has been broken, I think it will take quite a while to get fixed. And I think this slower economic growth would persist for some time, and I don't think we would be able to go back to high growth rates in a hurry. Having said that, I think for India as a country, there are several positives. Positive number 1 has been shared already, and I think that is oil prices. And India will benefit significantly from lower oil prices. I think another benefit of this will be that the large electronics imports and the large gold imports in India will also moderate because of the economic situation. India's dependence on exports is relatively small compared to most other countries. Therefore, to my mind, what we will gain by way of lower oil prices, lower electronics and gold imports will be probably more than what we will lose by way of lower remittances and by way of lower exports. So I think our external situation is extremely sound. Foreign exchange reserves is extremely sound. And I think our current account deficit will also fall sharply. So as a country, I think we are quite stable. But as Nilesh said, the profitability of several sectors, especially the ones which have discretionary products and where the cost structures are fixed, I think they will see significant erosion in profitability. And when businesses suffer in profitability, they have no option but to cut costs, and which I think will once again prolong the slowdown in consumer discretionary spending. Coming to the markets, I think it is only thrice in the last 30 years that India's market cap to GDP has fallen to 50% or below levels. And markets are forward looking. And I think 50% of market cap to GDP, there is great value in these markets. And like the earlier speakers, I would also say that it is extremely hard to forecast where the markets will bottom, have they bottomed out or not. But my observation in the previous situations, similar situations, is that after such large falls, the sentiment is extremely weak, and more often than not, we are closer to the bottom. So I would suggest that in this kind of an environment, the best strategy would be to assess whatever is your long-term surplus, where you can tolerate volatility, and you should invest that in 2 rounds. And one round, 2 or 3 rounds, and one round could be invested now. Another round could be invested after a few weeks, I would say, and yet one more round could be invested after a few months. While the medicine or the vaccine may take 1 year, I don't think the markets will wait that long to bottom out. And because markets are typically forward looking, and whenever things start coming under control, maybe markets will stabilize and can start doing well. Also, if you look at the composition of the markets, especially the Nifty, I think the Nifty composition is such that several sectors will be less impacted by COVID, and the valuations there are quite reasonable. I think certain large banks are trading around book value, below book values, while there'll be increase in NPAs. But when you are getting very large banks around book value, below book value, it does show that there is considerable value there. Then there are sectors like oil and gas, refining, marketing, large EPC companies, tobacco companies, utility companies, pharma companies, software companies. I think all these companies, again, while they will feel some impact, but the impact of these will be quite modest to my mind. The main impact of this slowdown will be felt by the consumer discretionary companies, even by consumer stable companies, I feel, because for the lower income groups, to buy an ice cream or a chocolate or a cream biscuit or an expensive shampoo is also discretionary. So I think even stable companies will see some demand slowdown. The second impact will be felt by the small banks or the banks or NBFCs have higher exposure to small retail loans or to the excessive exposure to SMEs. I think there again, there could be challenges of both growth and NPAs. When a country's market cap to GDP of a large, stable, growing country like India's market cap to GDP is 50%, I think it is pointing to significant undervaluation. And what this means is that over time, these markets would look with hindsight after some time, to my mind, a very good entry points like we have experienced after 9/11 or even after Lehman crisis. Though I would agree that the economic impact of this event will be more than what we had experienced after Lehman. It is also wrong to equate this event with Lehman crisis, because if you go back and see, before Lehman, India's market cap to GDP was about 150%. And before this fall, we were at half of that. So I think both the markets and the economy were in very different states pre-Lehman and now. And I think in India, we are actually quite fortunate as a country because economy was not overheated. Corporate leverage is reasonable. Oil prices low will benefit both the balance of payments and fiscal deficit for the government. And also our dependence on exports is quite small. My preference would be towards large companies because in these markets, the large companies have fallen very sharply because they are the ones which are liquid and they are the ones where bulk of the selling has taken place. And in small companies, you have to be extremely careful that how will they be able to survive or do well in these times, because some of the smaller companies could be quite vulnerable. So we have to be quite careful there. And one last point, in the last 1 month, I think we have seen about $9 odd billion worth of FIIs selling. And this is the highest intensity of selling by FIIs in one single month. And if you go back and look at the sharp corrections in the markets, they took place most of the time because of some challenges outside India. And around these occasions, FIIs sold heavily and markets bottomed out around these times. So I think what I have always experienced is that whenever the FII selling is the highest, these times are good times to invest in an economy like India, where medium to long-term fundamentals are extremely sound and strong. And I have no doubt that over time, growth will come back in India. So let me stop here and I am happy to answer 2 or 3 questions, please.
Mr. Pradeep Multani, our Vice President of the PhD Chamber, he has a question. If you can unmute Mr. Multani, he is asking about the Ayurvedic sector and this Ayush, which Prime Minister is also promoting. What is the future of that? Mr. Pradeep Multani.
Thank you very much, Ji. Sir, good evening to everyone. Looking at the investments and whatever the growth forecast which is looking at, today the Ayush sector is being strongly promoted by the Honorable Prime Minister himself. And he has set up a target of 1 lakh crore contribution from the Ayush sector by the year 2024. All sort of supports, inputs are giving in today's date. They have, in those 7 points which have been given, the 3rd point is on Ayush sector. There are many companies which have got a history like of 80 years, 75 years, and with very good top lines and very powerful bottom lines. Do you feel this is a good time for them to come to the market? And what is the future going to be like?
Let me not speak specifically on them. What I feel about these markets is that the whole markets at 50% market cap to GDP are offering very good value. And the sectors where I think there is valuations are above long-term averages are basically in the consumption space and in the consumer discretionary space. I think pharmaceuticals, IT and retail banks, these are companies which are trading around fair values. And most of the other sectors, to my mind, like large corporate banks, utilities, oil marketing, EPC companies, they are undervalued. So I would say broadly the pharma sector is fairly valued. What that means, however, is that the return should be in line with the earnings growth. But please understand that pharma is an extremely diversified sector. In cement, you can talk in terms of sector, but not in terms of these companies. And how each company does will be a function of their portfolios, current and future. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Naveen Mathur, Chairman of the Commodity Participant Association of India. Please unmute Mr. Naveen Mathur.
Well, hi, good evening, Prashant. My name is Naveen Mathur, and as Sabharwalji said that I'm representing CPI for the Western region, and I'm part of the Anand Rathi group. My question to you is that what you said is rightly that the crude oil prices coming down from around $50 to currently around $20 or so, I think, which will have a very strong effect, a positive effect on the balance sheet of the entire country as far as the fiscal kind of a current deficit and all that particular part is concerned. My question to you is, if the crude oil prices are down and we see a positive impact, as you rightly said, on our balance sheet, the country's balance sheet, how it will going to neutralize the negative impact of the total economy per se with respect to the fiscal deficit, etc.?
So I think that is what I said, that the external side of India is very strong. So our foreign exchange reserves, our current account deficit, balance of payments, I said we will be better than where we were 1 year back, because the savings on crude, the savings on electronics imports and gold imports will be more than what we lose by way of lower remittances or by way of lower exports. So I think to that extent, we are extremely in a strong position.
In that particular regard, the actual question is, do you think the 3.5% of the fiscal deficit, which the government...
I was coming to that. To that. But the fiscal deficit, I think, is going to be a bigger challenge, because please understand that when the economy is not functioning for 1 month, and the next few quarters will be quite challenging. As I said repeatedly, the demand will remain weak for some time. And if a retail store or a airline company or a hotel company does not do business for a few months, it can impact profits for 6 months to 1 year, because many of these businesses are with very high fixed costs. So I think the loss of revenue in the current year is going to be a very significant one. And even though higher taxes on oil products will help the fiscal deficit to some extent, but I don't think it can offset the loss of revenue with the current economic situation. So I feel it is a safe assumption that fiscal deficit will go up sharply in the current year, though I don't think we should worry about that in a year like this. Yes.
So you think it will be around 4% or so, or it will be beyond 4% from the projected 3.5% that the government has taken for this particular budgeted year?
I think in the current year, the fiscal deficit can be meaningfully higher.
Okay. So you mean meaningfully means 4% plus kind of number?
Yes. Okay. You will lose huge amount of revenue, right?
Yeah, that's right. The GST collections and everything would be on the...
Have to give a stimulus package also.
Even the corporate tax collections will be severely impacted. Individual taxes could also be impacted.
Thank you very much, Prashant. Thanks a lot.
I saw the hand of Akshay Agarwal ji from Cochin or Vinod Goyal ji from Calcutta, but presently I am not able to see them. So any other question, anyone who is raising hand? Previously I saw Akshay Agarwal ji Cochin and Vinod Goyal ji Calcutta. If any of them...
I have to leave, so maybe one last question. Actually, मैंने 6:30 तक ही plan किया था, but एक सवाल और ले लेते हैं जी.
DK Agarwal ji.
Roji, let this be the last question. Yeah.
DK Agarwal ji, you can ask the question.
No. What I'm saying is, whosoever asks the question, let it be the last question. Goyal ji, would you ask any question?
There are many more people, sir, who are raising hands. Let the IT team unmute any one of them who is raising hand.
Vineet Krishnan Chaudhary.
P.S. Saini was raising hand from the agricultural sector in Indian Society of Agricultural Sector, Mr. P.S. Saini.
बताएं सैनी साहब, पूछिए.
Vinay Vasudev is asking.
सुनील जी आप पूछ लीजिएगा तब तक.
अगेन सुनील दत्त जयपुर से बोल रहा हूँ. ये जो अभी 1 अप्रैल को मर्जर जो बैंक्स का हुआ PSU बैंक में, इनमें आपकी ओपिनियन जानना चाहता हूँ.
ये सब आपने पहले भी पूछा था नीलेश जी से. तो इसमें देखिए धीरे धीरे कॉस्ट तो कम हो जाएंगी, क्योंकि इन बैंक्स में जो एम्प्लॉयज हैं वो काफी हर साल करीब 4-5%, 6% एम्प्लॉयज रिटायर होते हैं, और कुछ ये लोग ब्रांचेस भी रैशनलाइज करते हैं, और जो उनकी टेक्नोलॉजी कॉस्ट है वो भी जब आप 3 बैंक को एक बैंक में मिलाते हैं तो दे आर एबल टू सेव कंसिडरेबल कॉस्ट. सो ओवर टाइम इनके कॉस्ट स्ट्रक्चर धीरे धीरे कम हो जाएंगे. और बहुत सारे जो सेंट्रल फंक्शंस होते हैं, ट्रेजरी है, HR है, इसमें भी यू कैन डू विद लेसर पीपल. बट इनका जो बैंकिंग में जो रियल इशू है, देखिए इन बैंक्स में लाइबिलिटीज का कोई चैलेंज नहीं है कि कॉस्ट ऑफ फंड्स काफी लो है. जो रियल चैलेंज है इंडियन बैंकिंग के लिए आने वाले समय में वो है NPAs का. तो जिन बैंक्स का एक्सपोजर स्मॉल रिटेल लोन्स SMEs को ज़्यादा है, वहाँ पे NPAs आ सकते हैं. अब इतना तो कह सकते हैं कि NPAs बढ़ेंगे, लेकिन कहाँ पर कितना बढ़ेगा ये एग्जैक्ट अंदाज़ा लगाना मुश्किल है. लेकिन जितनी मेरी समझ है, जो छोटे बैंक्स हैं, छोटे प्राइवेट बैंक्स हैं या जो NBFCs हैं जिनका SMEs को या इंडिविजुअल रिटेल लोन्स को, नॉन हाउसिंग लोन्स को ज़्यादा एक्सपोजर है, वहाँ पर स्लिपेज आने का ज़्यादा संभव है.
एक सवाल साहब, जितने भी PSU है प्रशांत जी,
हाँ,
जितने भी PSUs हैं जो मिनरल मेटल्स और माइनिंग में काम कर रहे हैं, कंस्ट्रक्शन में, उनके ऊपर आपकी ओपिनियन क्या रहेगी?
सब देखिए, हमको इन्वेस्टमेंट्स में PSUs और प्राइवेट में नहीं देखना चाहिए. और स्ट्रॉन्ग PSUs है, वीक PSUs है, स्ट्रॉन्ग प्राइवेट है, वीक प्राइवेट है. और मेरे हिसाब से देखिए, कमोडिटीज में इन्वेस्ट करने में हमको कमोडिटी प्राइस के ऊपर व्यू लेना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि वो उसमें सबसे बड़ा वेरिएबल है. और बट जहाँ कुछ ऐसे सेक्टर्स हैं जैसे पावर है, ऑयल एंड गैस है, लार्ज PSU बैंक है, काफ़ी स्ट्रॉन्ग है एंड दे आर क्वाइट रीजनेबल. तो मेरे ख्याल से ये ठीक रहेंगे. बट कंस्ट्रक्शन सेक्टर में मुझे ऐसा कुछ PSU का ज़्यादा आइडिया नहीं.
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू.
You can, 9 participants have raised hand. You can unmute one of them, any one of them.
हाँ जी, बोलिए.
Hello. Yeah, good evening, Prashant, Vineet Chaudhary. While Nilesh ji in his whole time explained us how to select the right stocks at this time, but my question is really speaking for the retail investor as well as the HNI. The situation of investment really is not about selecting stocks, but the funds are presented to us on a table by the investment managers, by the wealth managers. They come with a list of funds. Each fund may have a different constitution. So for us to decide, if I was to decide whether I want L&T or Reliance, yes, whatever little knowledge as an investor or a business entrepreneur, I know I will do it. But really speaking, we are investing either in mutual funds or PMSs or debt funds and things like that. So how does one decide really the right selection, right choice of a fund?
सर, बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट सवाल है. और
सर, मैं 2.5 घंटे से बैठा हूँ ये सवाल पूछने के लिए. Thank you and thanks to my colleagues in PhD that they gave me a chance as a last question.
देखिए साहब, ये सवाल का जवाब है मेरे पास, लेकिन उसको सही ढंग से समझाने में बहुत समय आता है. तो मैं आपको क्या करूँगा, एक किताब है कॉमन सेंस ऑन म्यूचुअल फंड्स बाय जॉन सी बॉगल.
Sorry, can come again?
Common Sense on Mutual Funds by John C. Bogle, BOGLE. इसके पहले 2 चैप्टर पढ़ लीजिए तो वो आपके they will answer all your questions. But let me summarize what he says there. देखिए, you must look at mutual funds that have a long track record. Number 1. देखिए,
प्रशांत जी थोड़ी आवाज कम आ रही है, थोड़ा जोर से बोलिए.
देखिए, you called Sachin or Rahul Dravid a good batsman not because they scored the highest runs in every match, but because if Sachin or Rahul played 20 matches compared to some other batsmen, their batting average is likely to be higher. So assess funds that have a good track record across market cycles. And it is not easy to do that because in stock markets, one cycle is 6 to 8 years. तो अभी 2 साइकिल देखेंगे तो 15 साल देखना पड़ेगा, और बहुत कम लोग को इतनी पेशेंस है और इतनी समझ है. तो बट दैट इज द वन टेस्ट ऑफ अ गुड फंड. सेकंड टेस्ट ऑफ अ गुड फंड इज कि जब पिछली बार मार्केट गिरा था जोर से काफी, तो आफ्टर द फॉल हाउ डिड द फंड बाउंस बैक? बिकॉज a fall is the test of a fund manager. क्योंकि if he has invested in decent companies, then after the fall, the bounce back in those funds will be very good. And funds that did not recover when the markets recovered, you have to be more careful with those funds.
Okay.
The final point I want to make is that you are investing in 3 to 5 funds, all of us, and that is the right way to invest.
Yeah.
Never get disappointed if one of the funds or 2 of the funds are not doing well in the last 1-2 years. ठीक है, सभी फंड अच्छा कब कर सकते हैं? सभी फंड अच्छा तब करेंगे जब सबके पास एक ही पोर्टफोलियो है, और सबके पास एक ही पोर्टफोलियो है तो फिर 5 फंड में इन्वेस्ट करने का कोई लॉजिक नहीं. तो हमको जो हमारे 5 फंड है उन 5 का एवरेज देखना चाहिए, और अगर हमारा एवरेज ठीक है तो हमको ऑब्जर्व करना चाहिए. लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है कि जो फंड ने लास्ट ईयर या लास्ट 2 साल में खराब किया उसको निकाल दे, अगर उसका लॉन्ग टर्म ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड अच्छा है. क्योंकि जैसा कि मैंने कहा, स्टॉक मार्केट में एक साइकिल 6, 8, 10 साल की है. बट ऑफ कोर्स अगर कोई फंड लंबे समय तक अच्छा नहीं कर रहा है तो हमको डेफिनेटली उसको रिव्यू करना चाहिए. जैसे कि मान लीजिए कोई बैट्समैन है, उसने 10 या 20 मैच खेले और उसमें उसका बैटिंग एवरेज कभी भी कम है, तो उसको फिर टीम में नहीं रखा जाए.
Thank you, Mr. Prashant Jain, for giving us so much time. Before I hand over to our President, Mr. D.K. Agarwal, for the concluding remarks, prior to that, I will like to thank the Executive Director SEBI and the senior officials of SEBI who are present with us in this seminar. The Executive Director of NEFRA, the Executive Director SEBI, Mr. Sundaresan was there with us. Executive Director NEFRA, Mr. Lekhan Thakkar, the past President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, the past President of the Institute of Company Secretaries are also with us. And not only that, we have the stockbrokers and investors. What I could see was from Chandigarh to Cochin and from Bhavnagar to Guwahati, leave aside Calcutta, Bombay, Indore, Ahmedabad, there were many people, but from all corners of the country, the members were there. And I even observed that I am told that 3 or 4 people have even from US and Australia also are there with us today. So for a concluding remarks, I request our Senior Vice President, Mr. Sanjay Agarwal, our Secretary General, Mr. Saurabh Sanyal, are also with us. Now, hand over to Mr. D.K. Agarwal, who himself is an expert, for the concluding remarks.
Thank you, Sabharwal ji. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Prashant Jain. I think it was a very insightful perspective given by him. And the fact that he mentioned that the market is near to the bottom. It may not be the bottom, but whenever such a fall happens, then generally the past track record says the market bounces back. And we are very thankful to him for giving such a insight into the stock market. And with such a huge participation, I am sure our members must have definitely benefited. And he also answered a lot of queries. So thank you, Prashant ji. We will be calling you again, because this is such a topic where we need interaction on a regular basis. And I'm sure that today, with your insight, a lot of people would become a new investor, and it would really help a lot of people to even select how which mutual fund they should invest. So thank you very much, and thank you everybody for participating in today's seminar, in today's webinar rather. Thank you.
PKG, we had 700 plus registration and only 400 plus people logged in also. Many of I am on my WhatsApp, I am receiving the message that they are not able to log in, though they were registered. So thanks to one and all who have registered with us. Very shortly, we will be coming with another webinar. We are trying to rope in the Governor RBI and the executive, the whole-time member SEBI for next seminars. Thank you, everyone.
Perfect.
And thanks to the Secretariat, by which efforts I will like to thank the Babita, the Shivani and Sohail also, who were exclusively trying to get these members on board, our members on board. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Namaskar, sir.